It's 2026, and if you're feeling behind, it's probably because you've fallen into what I call hidden money traps. Through my Netflix show, my newsletter with hundreds of thousands of members, and my money coaching group, I hear from people every single day who tell me they just cannot get ahead. And after talking to them, within the first few minutes, I can usually tell it's not bad luck. It's rarely just the economy. It's one or more of these silent traps that are quietly draining their money. So today I'm going to show you how to stop bleeding cash by avoiding 7 of the most common money traps. And I'm going to show you how wealthy people quietly sidestep these every single day. Some of these are obvious once you see them. Others are completely counterintuitive, and that's what makes them so dangerous. And number 1, it's the trap that almost everyone falls for, but once you recognize it, the fix is easy. You're going to see what I mean. Let's start the countdown now. You log on to Instagram, you see your annoying friend from high school posting about being in Tahiti. I love swimming with the whales. It's so cool. Must be nice. And then we look inward. What am I doing wrong? This can be really frustrating, especially because it's easy to feel behind when you see how other people are living, and it becomes a never-ending comparison trap. But the way to break out of this cycle can be much simpler than you think. Start off by defining your rich life. You might see somebody living in a 5-bedroom house. You go, oh my God, I'm behind. And then you start to write down what your rich life is, and it's living in a walkable community in a small apartment and spending more eating out every day. You go, I don't want a 5-bedroom house. What the hell am I gonna do with that? That's why it's important to decide what you value. Maybe you do want a huge house with a massive backyard. That's also great. What do you love to spend money on? What experiences do you want to have every Sunday, every Wednesday night? And also, what do you not care about? I remember I once went on a tour of all these expensive houses in LA. It was during COVID. There was nothing else to do. My wife and I got in our car. We drove around. We looked at these beautiful houses. And I remember I was in Bel Air and we're looking up the Zillow thing and we're going, oh, that 20 bedroom, 20 bath. And for a second, I was like, I could live here. That would sure be nice. We could have our family. And then as we're driving, I go, what the I don't want to live there. I don't want to live in some secluded, gated area where I have to get in my car to do everything. And that is a revelation when you decide what is important to you and also what is not. For example, I love luxury travel. I love a beautiful hotel, but I also drove a Honda Accord for 19 years. And when we finally got a new car, we decided we didn't even like it and we returned it. A fancy car is just not part of our rich life. I love living in walkable neighborhoods. So if I had a McMansion in the suburbs, I would have to drive 10 minutes, 20 minutes just to get a coffee. Not for me. And because my wife and I defined these things a long time ago, I'm not seduced by people posting photos next to a fancy car. I appreciate that they have it and they love it, but it's just not for me. And I don't waste time house hunting on Zillow because that's just not my rich life. Your rich life is yours. You get to define it. And once you do, you can simply sidestep the comparison trap. But if you're in a relationship, your rich life is not just what you want. And that brings me to the next trap in our countdown. If you're avoiding tough money conversations in your relationship, you're already in trouble. 50% of people I talk to on my podcast don't even know their household income. If they don't even know their own household income, they are definitely not talking to their partner about money. Now, I wrote a New York Times best-selling book on this exact topic. My new book is called Money for Couples. I spent years researching and writing it. Money issues lead to fights. They slow down your financial goals. They create a wedge. They can often even lead to divorce. Now, these conversations can be uncomfortable. I don't know why. I personally love sitting down, pulling out a spreadsheet, pulling out a vision document, talking about what happened in this account. Shouldn't it automatically be flowing on the 7th of the month? Can we fix our system? I love you. When my wife and I got together, when we were dating, I didn't bring up money early on, and I should have. I should have been talking about it regularly. That would have allowed me to learn what she valued, to learn that she didn't just see money as a series of compound interest calculations, but rather a feeling of safety. And I saw it completely differently. Learn from my mistake, because I should have talked about it earlier and we both should have connected with the way the other thinks about money. In every relationship, a couple has some major elephant in the room. when it comes to money. One person might make significantly more than the other. Someone might have 6 figures of student loans. Definitely, you probably have different views on spending. Your beliefs and behaviors around money will definitely impact your relationship. And that is why I want you to talk about it early and frequently. The best relationships design their lives together. And it starts with a question that I love to ask. Put your hand out, put it up to the sky, and say this with me. What do we get? What do we get for going to work every day, for working hard, for taking care of our loved ones? And what do we want to get? Spend a few minutes talking about it. It can actually be really fun. You might find that one person wants to take a trip to Europe every year, and the other just wants to be able to buy an energy drink from the gas station every morning. Okay, fine. Let's talk about it. Is there a way that we can both get what we want? As time goes on, you're going to get more comfortable talking about money. Notice, by the way, so many people use this phrase, we need to sit down and talk about it. I don't like that phrase, sit down. Why do you have to sit down as if it is some formal topic? When we use the phrase sit down and talk about money, you can tell that we are overly formalizing money, and we are actually making money this third character in our relationship. Do you sit down to play with your kids? No, you just play with them. That's the relationship I want you to have with money. Of course, respect it, take it seriously, but also it's part of your life. When you get comfortable with money, that's when you can start to dive into the heavier topics like debt and income and future plans. The point is I want you to avoid the trap of going years and years without having these conversations about money. Too many couples wait for a fight to talk about money. Don't do it. You don't have to. The next silent money trap can cost you for years or even decades. That's why it's crucial to tackle it now. Debt is deeply psychological. You get the latest iPhone, you take that vacation, you go to Nordstrom Rack. It's easy to justify. It seems like a good deal at the time. You'll figure it out. I deserve to treat myself. I work hard. But before you know it, you're carrying debt. And soon enough, you find yourself making payment after payment, and it just does not seem to go down. I spoke to a couple recently. He had a $17,000 student loan. He ignored it for decades. Now it was over $100,000.
I owe $125,000 to student loans on $17,000 principal. The rest is interest.
It is time to make a plan. Debt does not have to be your enemy. You can actually tackle it without too much hard work. Otherwise, you're going to ignore it, and the payments can drain you financially, just putting this 25-pound weight vest you have to carry everywhere you go. Let me show you what I mean with an example, because not all debt is the same. Let's say you have a $10,000 balance on a credit card and it has a 25% APR. Now, if you just make the minimum payment, it would take 30 years to pay it off. 30 years means the interest alone would be double the amount you initially spent. You are literally getting money taken out of your wallet every single day. But if you know that one credit card has a 25% APR and you have student loans with a much lower interest rate, you could prioritize paying the high interest debt first, even though the balance on the student loans might be higher. And you can sometimes negotiate a lower APR on your credit card. Here's an exact word-for-word script that you can use when talking to your credit card company. Tell them, I've been on time with my payments for the last year. I'm making an aggressive debt payment, and I'd like for you to lower my APR. Other cards are offering me much less than what you are. What can you do? You might get put on hold, you might get transferred around, you might want to ask for the retention department, but chances are they may not want to lose you as a customer. And now, it doesn't always work. If they say no, it's fine. Try calling back in a couple of months, but otherwise, pay your debt. Make a plan and pay your debt. The faster you do this, the faster you will have extra money to save, invest, and even spend on the things you love. Okay, moving on. The next trap is so easy to fall into, and so much of personal finance advice revolves around it, but I'm going to debunk it right now. Here it is. Number 4, confusing frugality with being smart. Why are you guys downloading these 5,000 personal finance apps to find the lowest gas prices, driving 20 minutes across town to save 30 cents? Ooh, I did it. I optimized. On the surface, it can look like optimizing is being smart with money. And this is what a lot of experts tell you to do. I mean, there are entire articles, even today, written about how to save money on avocados. Oh my God. If you ever find me reading an article on how to save money on oranges, something has gone horribly wrong in my life. In my opinion, these are all $3 questions that miss the bigger picture. Very few people ever stop to ask the $30,000 questions, such as, how can I get a raise? How can I earn an extra $1,000 a month on the side? How can I minimize my investment fees, which are costing me hundreds of thousands of dollars over my lifetime? Once you start earning more, for example, the possibilities really open up. You can start to aggressively pay down your debt. You can shave off years of your debt payments. Please remember, there's a limit to how much you can cut back, but there is no limit to how much you can earn. Now, a good place to start is with salary negotiation. I actually have an entire video on that right here. Frugality focuses on the $3 questions. I would much rather have you focus on the $30,000 questions, get 5 of those right, and never have to worry about the price of apples again. And if you want help doing that, if you are ready to focus on just the most important $30,000 questions, and then you can order what you want at a restaurant, I invite you to join my money coaching program. Money does not have to be confusing. You do not have to track 10 million numbers in 5 different apps. You can focus on a few key levers and then automate everything. Inside Money Coaching, I'm going to show you exactly how to build a clear plan for investing, paying off debt, even taking that dream vacation. And I will show you how to actually spend more on the things you love. You'll get my entire system in one place with simple guidance you can start implementing in the next 48 hours. If you are ready to make a plan and start implementing it, then use this link below or this QR code. Okay, this next money trap can be fun and it can even feel kind of prestigious. That's why it can get you in so much trouble. If I hear another person in $22,000 of credit card debt telling me that they continue charging on their credit card, why? For the points, Ramit. I am going to end this freaking YouTube channel. You will never hear from me again, ever. I'm going to be gone, wiped off the face of the internet. Credit card rewards are seductive. And for a lot of you, it really feels like you're winning. Oh, I got an extra 45,000 points. Such good optimization. JetBlue Mint, here I come. You can get a free flight. You get elite status. You get access to lounges. Guys, I have all this shit. It's not that impressive, all right? Sitting around waiting in line 40 minutes to get in the lounge. Ooh, that's so cool. I love their chicken. Look, if you're already spending money on a credit card, I don't mind getting rewards. I do it. It's fine. But chasing rewards, making it a core part of your financial system, is just another way of playing small. And if you're not careful, it can come back to bite you, especially if you find yourself spending more than you can pay off every single month. A free flight sounds great, but if you had to spend $12,000 to get a $500 free flight, you actually lost money. Now, here's the solution, and it's going to surprise you. I want you to fight for simplicity in your finances. The more successful you get, the more you should fight for simplicity. For example, I recommend having no more than roughly 2 credit cards, maybe 1 travel rewards card, maybe 1 with cash back. Anything more than that is basically overkill. If you want to travel, most savings accounts let you set up sub-savings accounts. These are separate from the main account. You can use them for specific goals like a vacation or a big ticket item. Set it up so that $200 is automatically transferred from your take-home pay every month. After a year, you'll have $2,400 saved without even trying. And then maybe you can find a free $400 flight through your credit card rewards. Now, if you want to redeem your points, great, have fun. But it is not the most important part of your financial system. In fact, it's not even icing on the cake. It is a minor detail. To put it really bluntly, you know what the best credit card rewards system is? Having enough money to pay for the trip you want. Okay, now we're getting towards the end of our countdown here. We're getting close. This next one can feel productive. It can make you feel smart in the short term, but it can also leave you broke in the long term. You pick stocks based on what your friend told you. You're picking the next coin. You're taking advice from some day trader on TikTok who's 22 years old and took a video inside the W Miami and tells you he lives there. What the are you doing? It feels like you are learning. It feels like you're managing money. You're moving. Y'all need to stop moving, sit still, and implement a real strategy. Have you ever seen actual wealthy people? They're not going like this. Hey, everybody. Today I was in South Beach. So cool. I got out of my Rolls Royce. They're calm. They're not moving around a lot. They have a strategy and they are sticking to it. And I'm speaking from experience. When I was in high school and I won a scholarship, I immediately took that check and I invested it in the stock market. That's what I thought everybody does around 1999, 2000. Well, I ended up losing half that money, and it was a big wake-up call that taught me I'm not as smart as I think, and maybe I should not be buying individual stocks. I decided to learn how investing actually worked. And the best thing I learned was to stop trying to time the market and buy individual stocks and to diversify automatically. Let me give you a very simple example. Let's say you have two businesses that you could invest in. One sells beach chairs, the other sells snow shovels. One for the summer, one for the winter. Well, if you put your money in the beach chair business, guess what happens in winter when no one's buying them? That company goes down. And if you do the opposite, you put your money in the snow shovels, you're going to face a downturn in the summer. So what would you do in that situation? Of course, you would diversify across both companies. Now, this is a very simplified scenario, but you can imagine it playing out across hundreds of companies in dozens of industries. You actually want to be diversified across all of them because you don't know which one's going to go up and which one's going to go down. Now, one type of investment that I really love are target date funds, which do this for you. You're automatically diversified when you invest in them. Vanguard, Fidelity, Schwab, they all have low-cost options. All you have to do is pick the year you're going to retire, and that's it. You're diversified. Your asset allocation or your pie chart of stocks and bonds will match where you are in life without you having to do anything. And it's automatic. You don't need a financial advisor for simple investing like this, and you don't need to constantly manage your investments. Remember, over 80% of professional investors fail to beat the market. You can actually match the market with something like an S&P 500 index fund or something like a target date fund, which will become more conservative over time. Quick pause before we get to the number one trap. If you've been enjoying this, if you've been learning something you did not think about when it comes to money, hit subscribe right now because I want to share more strategies so you can live a rich life and be way less stressed about money. Okay, the last silent money trap can wreck your finances if you're not careful, yet it is the default for so many people. A lot of people say, I will just save whatever's left over at the end of the month, or they use the T word. I need to try to save more. Try? Look at my face. Do I look like I am trying to breathe oxygen? Now, I've seen some of your comments. I know that some of you have a reminder on your phone before you go to sleep every night. Remember to breathe overnight so I don't asphyxiate myself. I've seen your comments, but most people do not have to remember or try to breathe. I don't try to save money. You shouldn't either. This is why it is important to have a system that automatically saves for you. I'm going to show you how to do this in 10 minutes using something called a conscious spending plan. All you need to know are 4 numbers. Do it with me right now. The first part is your fixed costs. These are your non-negotiable expenses like rent or mortgage, utilities, debt payments, car payments, groceries. These fixed costs should be 50 to 60% of your take-home pay. That's your key number. Next number, investments. You want to be investing 5 to 10% minimum, ideally more. This is where the real wealth is created. Third part of your conscious spending plan is your savings. 5 to 10% of your take-home pay minimum, ideally more. This would be things like an emergency fund, a down payment for a house, even saving for things like vacations 2 years from now. This gets automatically transferred every single month into a savings account. You save without trying. And finally, number 4, my favorite one of all, guilt-free spending 20 to 35% of your take-home pay. It can be travel, it can be clothes, it can be drinks out with friends, going out to eat, whatever you want. The only thing it cannot be is getting DoorDash of Chili's, because that is disgusting. But aside from that, it's up to you to spend your money however you like. I'm not here to judge. It's your rich life. This is what living your life is all about. And now that you know these money traps, check out how you can skyrocket your wealth no matter how old you are.